So pilots at Allegiant Air, which services among many cities, Hagerstown Regional Airport, have threatened to strike, and there's probably more issues, but one of the big issues is this, what they're calling a homegrown scheduling system. Henry, what do you know about this?
Well, they're not using an industry standard. I believe this scheduling system maybe is not necessarily homegrown, but it's something that's from days gone by, and other airlines have improved the way that they schedule their pilots to make things more convenient, and because the pilots are providing a major service to them. Allegiant really has not taken that in consideration and modernized their system. So the pilots are, feel they're being taken advantage of, less time at their home base and more time spent on the road.
Ron?
That's in essence what it is. I think they'll come to an agreement. I think they thought they had it worked out at one time.
A couple of years ago.
Yeah, a couple of years ago, and now it comes back and jumps up and bites them again. I think they'll get it solved.
So there was a 60 Minutes investigation, and we talked about that investigation on the show several episodes ago, talking about the safety record of Allegiant and their theory that it was below other airlines. Is this the tip of the iceberg?
No, because it was proven that wasn't an issue. There was isolated incidents of problems that were dealt with, and also by the ordering of many new aircraft.
Henry, you've worked in industry for many years. They talk about scheduling system being non-standard. Is non-standard by definition bad?
It's not necessarily bad, but I get back to how you treat employees. Ron said that they had a tentative agreement. It was a couple years ago, and they haven't fulfilled trying to address those concerns. How you treat your employees is a large reflection of what type of company you run. And the fact that the pilots have gone to the union and they voted to actually do a walkout and strike, that says to me that there's a lot more there than what meets the eye, because I don't think that is their first recourse.
So in 2016, the union reports that there was an agreement where Allegiant would implement this new scheduling system within 180 days of execution of that contract. The contract was executed. The new scheduling system is not in place. How long should the pilots wait or have to wait for Allegiant to uphold its commitments?
Depend whether they have arbitration powers or not. There's a mediator that's allowed in this,
I
or
get
how
that
do
whole
they
part,
make
but
it
I mean,
happen?
realistically, if I tell you I'm going to do something today and 180 days later I've still not done it, how
You're
long
the
do
boss. You don't have to do it.
Okay.
But if it's in a contract, it's in an agreement that it has to be executed and completed in 6 months.
Who arbitrates that contract?
Well, that's probably NLRB, National
Okay.
Labor Relations Board.
So is the National Labor Relations Board going to arbitrate it, mediate it, or do anything? I would think they would. I would think the union would call on the National Labor Relations Board to do that.
And justifiably so. And I'm not one that thinks everything the union does is right, but you had 6 months to put it into place. We're now staring at 2 years. I think it's time to get, there's a reason that it has been put into place. Is it management? Is it cost?
Or is it the pilots? See, we don't know. We're only hearing one side of the story.
Yeah.
Is it the problem with the pilots? Have they done something? Maybe they didn't do a procedure that was in the contract that they were supposed to do.
Allegiant should get rid of their PR person, because they've taken a couple PR dings in the last several months.
Yeah. Well, what we know is that Allegiant's claim to fame, really, at least in my view, is the
Budget flights.
inexpensive nature of their travel, right? And to do that, you got to cut some corners somewhere. And we know we don't want them
Cut corners or cut costs?
Cut costs. Okay. Good point, Ron. Thank you. My point is this. Nobody wants the costs to be cut unnecessarily on the safety side. Clearly, the pilots don't want that on the scheduling side. At some point, if you're going to maintain the $79 or whatever their cost is from Hagerstown to Florida nowadays, it's a budget item.
Well, scheduling. We leave out of here on Thursday night, tomorrow night, to go to Florida. We go out on Friday night to Florida, Monday to Florida. So, what is the issue? You've got scheduled flights in advance. How?
I think the
Is it
issue
time on, time off?
is the pilot layovers.
Okay.
Okay, in non-home based cities. So if the pilot is based out of Hagerstown and he winds up, flying down there to Florida, and he has the last flight to Florida and no return flight for, 3 days, then he really doesn't want to be spending his time down in Florida when he could be up home with his family here. I think that's one of the cruxes of the issue is there's more time off, and plus they're racking up a lot of flight time. It's sort of jammed on them, and then they have a lull. So I'm sure transportation safety has a certain limit on how many hours they can get in the air in a certain time
Same
period.
as a trucker.
Different. So I'm sure that, and they might be pushing the envelope there to see how much they can do to try to leverage that.
Truckers, until they put the timesheets and all of the OnStar products and all of the way they can track a trucker, those guys would roll all the time.
Mm-hmm.
They were on the road constantly. I was on the phone to trucking companies all the time. What time's their freight going to be here? We need it by 11 o'clock tonight. And those guys would come through. They have a hard life. Goodness gracious. They got to make, you don't have the old storage bins anymore, the old warehouses as much. The warehouse now for a lot of major industries, what? A 53-foot
The warehouses are
trailer
manufacturers.
is a 53-foot trailer on the back of a tractor. That's the warehouse.
Well, back to the Allegiant, I think we can all agree that it's certainly an important part of our local airport, and it's been a beneficial service, not only to our citizens, but the citizens in Pennsylvania and West Virginia, neighboring states. So I personally hope they get their act figured out, whatever that may be, and can get something resolved.
I agree.
But I'll take the last word on that, too.
You got two last words.
I got two
He's the
last
boss.
words.
No, he's the boss.
I don't have the first word.
Did we get in negotiations on this?
No,
we
we
were
don't.
supposed to have this all taken care of in our last
Talk
contract.
to our attorney.
Well, we'll see how that goes. I don't have the first announcement of this, though, and that is the fact that the meeting with Putin may be the easiest that Trump will have. And I would like to say that I invented that, but President Trump already tweeted it. So let's talk about that one in 3 minutes. We're back in 3.